But the reason that we work a lot more is because there's all these extra pressures of what's accepted in society. We have all these, I'm talking Western world, by the way. I'm not speaking on behalf of third world nations or people because I don't know what it's like to live there fully, because I've been lucky enough to grow up in the Western world. So are you picking up what I'm putting down? The quote that I'm going to say now that articulates this pretty strongly is that everything is optional. Everything is optional. It's an exaggeration because there's some things like breathing is not optional if you want to stay alive. I guess it's still optional. You're just going to die. But everything is optional. Everything is optional. People go, I couldn't just quit my job. How am I going to survive? Well, it's like the only reason you don't have freedom is because you say, I couldn't do that. And the reason, what someone's actually saying is, I've got a series of attachments that I couldn't let go of that would force me to do that. AKA, if someone had a $40,000 car, because that's just the general way that they feel safe in their friends group of having a car of that standard. And then I say, well, quit your job if you don't like it and you're overworking and your body needs rest and you've got these health conditions coming up and your nervous system, you've got anxiety and stuff. Take some time off work. Well, I couldn't do that. It's like, you could sell your car and you could move into a cheaper place and you could eat takeout less. You could definitely do that. You're just attached to a bunch of things. And these attachments that we have that are very much geared towards fear of failure and judgment, rejection, and abandonment are the things that I spoke about this when it came to how I created financial freedom. And I spoke about a lot about freedom being impacted by people's insecurities determining what they spend money on. So people's insecurities costing them. If they're going out with their friends and their friends want to eat at this expensive restaurant and they're scared of saying, hey, I can't afford that right now, or I don't want to put my money into that right now. Can we just have a picnic instead? Or can we go to one of their houses and just all bring a meal? But the person's scared of getting rejected. And so that insecurity stops them saying, hey, I don't want to go out and eat at this restaurant. And so they go out and eat at the restaurant because they're scared their friends are going to reject them. Their insecurity just cost them $80. If they've got a car that they're driving around, that they're paying the car debt off because they bought it on finance and it's costing them a couple $100 a week when they could, and it's a $40,000 car or a $35,000 car or an $80,000 car or a $150,000 car, it's optional. Everything is optional. You don't need it. It's just an attachment. And with that attachment, under every attachment is fear. And I'm attached because I'm scared of not having it. I'm attached. I need it because it's a need because I'm scared. If something's not a need, there's no fear. If it's just like, oh yeah, it's optional, I don't need it. It's like, well, I'm fine without it, which implies they're not afraid. But if someone's like, no, I couldn't get rid of that card, it's because they're scared of getting rejected. And so it is optional, but in their reality, their attachment from fear of rejection or losing status or looking stupid or fear of failure, or that costs. People's insecurities cost them money, and money costs them time, and time feeds this loop of the busyness curse. So we're living in a whole other reality. And from about 1000 AD to now, as innovation and globalization has set in and there've been the exchange of ideas, there's been a whole shift in lifestyle away from meeting bare necessities to experiencing a lot more in life, but also expecting a lot more from ourselves and each other, from our programming of status and likability and fear of rejection and trying to be cool, has put us in this situation where we're in this busyness loop, this cycle to try to get to some point that we think's going to make us happy, but we're actually just scared and trying to fit in. When that doesn't have to be the reality. I don't know about what your friends are like, but my friends love me for who I am. If I don't want to go out for dinner and want to eat at home, they don't not want to be my friend. If I want to leave the party early because I'm tired, sure, someone had an insecurity that it was about them. They could be a little bit upset temporarily, but then they're still going to love me. And so everything is optional. This busyness loop, even if you're believing that it's a requirement, it isn't. It isn't needed. This is just how life is. It doesn't have to be. I went from working 100 hours a week to, I don't know, maybe 30 hours a week now. And a lot of it's work that I don't have to do, but I enjoy doing. But it is very rare that I will stretch my health for my business. The ironic thing is this week is the closest that I've been to doing that in a long time, because I'm preparing to have 4 months off work and technology. But I won't sacrifice my health for work. If there's something that's like, but it has to be done so I can get the workshop launched by this time. It's like, well, I don't need to have the workshop launched by this time. So if I can push the workshop date back a week and launch it for that time and just launch it next week instead of this week, it's okay. And the thing that is required for someone to actually have their health as a priority and to escape the busyness loop is they need to feel a sense of wholeness. If someone's feeling insecure for who they are, and that is 99% of the population, it's very difficult to escape the business loop, because all the attachments and the fears of I'm not enough, so therefore I can't. Everything is not optional. I have to work because I need to save the money to have the time to launch my business, to actually prove I'm worthy and show the world that I'm good enough and I deserve love, so I feel safe. Whereas if someone's feeling whole in who they are, well, it doesn't have to be done. It is optional. And the real ironic thing about all of this is that when someone's in a busyness loop, they're very ineffective. They're very ineffective. Blind spots are just ample in quantity. If someone's in a busyness loop, which means that their body and mind didn't recover overnight, they wake up in somewhat of a hypnosis, obscure the realization of it with coffee, and then their body's impeded in energy. The prefrontal cortex, because the body's dysregulated, is shut down, and they're surviving off adrenaline. So they're not able to critically think and strategic think on the same level. So decisions are made reactively and non-thoughtfully. Reactively, short-term based, not long-term based. And that short-term based decision-making condition just leads to more reactivity, and the cycle continues over and over again, over and over again. And so the opportunity here is to actually claim the truth that you are whole. And from that baseline of knowing that you're whole, perfect, and complete, love yourself enough to prioritize fulfillment as your top priority in life. This is my biggest mission in life.